channel. In this video is my Premier League predictions. Game week 8. Game week 7 was an entertaining weekend full of shocking results. Chelsea managed to secure a 2-1 victory over Liverpool in a dramatic manner, whilst Arsenal also secured a 2-0 victory in a London derby against West Ham United. Man United got a 2-0 victory over Sunderland, and City also secured a 1-0 victory over Brentford at the GTEC Community Stadium. Going into this game week 8, I'm looking out for spot-on predictions, whilst in game week 7, I had two games spot-on predicted. The first game was between Chelsea and Liverpool. I predicted a 2-1 victory for Chelsea, and I made mention in my game week 7 video that Chelsea needed a 3 maximum point going into this international break, and well, they got that game spot on, and I predicted it, and I got it spot on predicted. The other game too was between Newcastle United versus Nottingham Forest. I predicted Newcastle to secure a 2-0 victory over Forest, and they got it spot on. I predicted that one too, and I got it spot on. My name is Andy Final. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment your thoughts and your predictions, and stick with me to the end of this video. If you want to know my insight and my thoughts on the coming up games in game week 8 right after the international break, stick with me to the end of this video. So starting off the game week 8 predictions right after the international break in an early kickoff at the City ground is between Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea. This is going to be a springboard game for Chelsea if Chelsea this season is going to really perform after securing a 2-1 victory over the league champions Liverpool in game week 7 at the Stamford Bridge. This is going to be a second consecutive game if Chelsea can win, because prior to this game, Chelsea have lost their last 2 Premier League games. They lost against Manchester United, lost against Brighton, and well, got a victory against Liverpool. So this game is going to be a very crucial game for this current Chelsea team. And we're talking about Nottingham Forest too. In game week 7, they lost 2-0 to Newcastle United, which I got that game to spot on predicted. So both teams in game week 7, I got their games spot on predicted in game week 7. So this is a game that I'm really following this game, because right after the international break, you know, Chelsea form right after the international break hasn't been so good to talk about. Mostly, if Chelsea come right after international break, they struggle with their games, and this game being an early kickoff too is going to play a big role in this game. Chelsea need the 3 maximum points. Right now, looking at Chelsea, they are 7th on the Premier League table with 11 points out of 7 games. And talking about Nottingham Forest, shockingly, last season the performance that they put in the Premier League, and this season they started well, but well, they sacked their coach, and now results started falling apart. I mean, they have been on a terrible run. Going into this game against Chelsea is not a good time to play Chelsea for Nottingham Forest, because right now, looking at them too, they are 17th on the Premier League table. What do I think is going to happen at the City ground right after the international break? Chelsea in an early kickoff at the City ground against Nottingham Forest. What could be the prediction? My score prediction for this game, I'm predicting Chelsea to get a 2-0 victory over Nottingham Forest. Chelsea 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Moving on to the next game at the Amex Stadium in game week 8 is between Brighton versus Newcastle United. Shockingly, these two teams were last season teams who really impressed on the league table, but this season they didn't start well. Talking about both teams, Newcastle in game week 7 got a 2-0 victory over Nottingham Forest, whilst Brighton on the other hand also secured a 1-1 draw against Wolves in game week 7. Going into this game in game week 8 at the Amex Stadium, talking about teams who are now 11th and 12th on the league table. Newcastle is now 11th on the Premier League table with 9 points, and Brighton is also 12th on the league table with 9 points. The difference is goals difference. What will happen at the Amex Stadium in game week 8? Well, going to this game, my prediction is that I'm predicting this game to end in a draw. My prediction is Brighton 1, Newcastle United 1. Moving on to the next game at the 12th Mall in game week 8 is between Burnley versus Leeds United. This is going to be a classic game. These are two teams who got promoted into the Premier League this season, and Burnley hosting Leeds at the Telford Mall in Game Week 8 is going to be a classic game to call. Both teams in Game Week 7, Leeds United at home lost 2-1 to Tottenham Hotspurs, and Burnley also went to the Villa Park and they lost by 2-1 against Aston Villa in Game Week 7. Talking about both teams, looking at right now, Leeds United is now 15th on the Premier League table with 8 points out of 7 games. And Burnley right now, they are also 18th on the Premier League table with just 4 points out of 7 games. Going to this game at the Telford Mall is going to be a crucial game and a very difficult one to call. But what is my score prediction going into this game in Game Week 8? Burnley versus Leeds United at Telford Mall. My prediction in this game is Burnley to secure a 2-1 victory over Leeds United. Burnley 2, Leeds United 1. Oh yes, moving on to the next game at the Selhurst Park in Game Week 8 is between Crystal Palace versus AFC Bournemouth. This is going to be a very difficult game coming up in Game Week 8. Talking about Crystal Palace, they were the last team to be beaten this season in the Premier League with the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea. All these teams were beaten. The last team to be beaten in the Premier League was Crystal Palace, and it was in Game Week 7 that Everton beat them by 2-1, and even in that game, it was a last-minute winner that Everton got. Going to this game against AFC Bournemouth, who was very impressive in Game Week 7, secured a 3-1 victory over Fulham. Right on, looking at the Premier League table, AFC Bournemouth right now, they are 4th on the Premier League table with 14 points out of 7 games in the Premier League. Talking about Crystal Palace, they are also 6th on the Premier League table with 12 points out of 7 games. Going into this game at Selhurst Park in Game Week 8, what is my score prediction between Crystal Palace versus AFC Bournemouth? In this game, I'm predicting this game to end in a draw. My prediction is a 2-2 draw. Crystal Palace 2, AFC Bournemouth 2. Yes, moving on to the next game at the Etihad Stadium in Manchester is between Manchester City versus Everton. This is the comeback home game for Jack Grealish. So far so good, he left Man City to join Everton, and this has been a refreshing start for Jack Grealish. Going into this game in Game Week 8 right after international break is going to be a very crucial game for both teams. Right now, looking at Manchester City, they are 5th on the Premier League table with 13 points out of 7 games. Talking about Everton, they are also 9th on the Premier League table with 11 points out of 7 games in the Premier League. Right now, going to this game, talking about Man City in Game Week 7, got a 1-0 victory over Brentford at the G-Tech Community Stadium, and Everton 2 at home beat Crystal Palace by 2-1, which means Everton is on form going into this game against Manchester City, who right now, the kind of result they're getting is inconsistent. They play good today, tomorrow they are bad. They lose today, they drop points here and there. So going into this game is going to be a very difficult game. And this game, it could be a shocker. I'm predicting Everton to secure a point at the Etihad Stadium in Game Week 8. My prediction is a 1-1 draw. Manchester City 1, Everton 1. Yes, moving on to the next game at the Stadium of Light is between Sunderland versus Wolves. Going to this game in Game Week 8 is going to be a very crucial game for Sunderland. So far so good, looking at a team like Sunderland with 11 points out of 7 games, and now they are 9th on the Premier League table as it stands in Game Week 7. I think it's a good position, and 11 points for them is a good performance for a team like Sunderland. Going into this game against Wolves team, who also have managed to secure only 2 points out of 7 games, and now they are at the bottom of the Premier League table, 20th position. It's going to be a very difficult game for Wolves. Despite in the last 2 games, they've secured a draw game. They drew against West Ham United, and in Game Week 7 also got another draw. So going into this game, what could be the possible results? What is my score prediction going to this game? Sunderland at the Stadium of Light against Wolves. I'm predicting this game to end in the 2-1 victory for Sunderland. Sunderland 2, Wolves 1. Oh yes, moving on to one of the most difficult grounds in Premier League at the Craven Cottage is between Fulham versus Arsenal. This is a London derby coming up right after the international break. Fulham will be hosting Arsenal, and this game could decide if Arsenal is going to build a momentum from here to go ahead and win the Premier League if they can, because in game week 7 Arsenal secured a 2-0 victory in the London derby against West Ham United, and this is going to be the second consecutive London derby, and this one is away at Fulham. What do I think is going to happen? Or even Fulham in game week 7 also lost away at the Vitality Stadium, lost 3-1 to AFC Bournemouth. So Fulham too need the 3 points. Right now, Arsenal is on top of the Premier League table with 16 points out of 7 games. Fulham too is also 14th on the Premier League table with just 8 points out of 7 games. What could be my score prediction going into this game in game week 8? Well, I'm predicting this game to end in a draw. My prediction is Arsenal 2, Fulham 2. Oh yes, moving on to the next game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in game week 8 is between Tottenham Hotspur versus Aston Villa. These are two teams who in game week 7, Tottenham Hotspur went away to Leeds and they got a 2-1 victory over Leeds United, while Aston Villa too on the other hand at home at the Villa Park secured a 2-1 victory over Burnley. So right now, looking at both teams, right now Tottenham Hotspur is now 3rd on the Premier League table with 14 points out of 7 games in the league. And talking about Aston Villa too, right now they are also 13th on the Premier League table with just 9 points out of 7 games. This is going to be a very difficult game for Aston Villa. Despite last season they were brilliant on the league table, but well, they didn't have a good start this season, and now that they are grinding out points, they got a victory in game week 6 and in game week 7. So if they get a win against Tottenham Hotspur in game week 8, it's going to be a good result for them. And well, what do I think is going to happen coming up at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium right after the international break? I think this video, most of my prediction is going to be draw, because I think some of the players that will be coming for international break, they will be very exhausted, and this will be a very difficult game. So I think draw games will be very important coming up in game week 8. And most of these games, I'm tipping them to end in a draw. And this game, especially between Tottenham Hotspur and Aston Villa, I'm predicting this game to also end in a 2-2 draw. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Aston Villa 2. Oh yes, moving on to the next game at Anfield in game week 8 is the game of the week between Liverpool versus Manchester United. This is the biggest game coming up this season between Liverpool and Manchester United in game week 8. While Manchester United in game week 7 secured a 2-0 victory over Sunderland at the Old Trafford, while Liverpool on the other hand also went to Stamford Bridge and they lost 2-1 against Chelsea. Prior to this game, Liverpool in game week 6 lost 2-1 to Crystal Palace and they lost 2-1 to Chelsea. This is going to be like 3 consecutive losses in the Premier League. I'm not even adding the game that they lost in the Champions League against Galatasaray. It will be a bad record for Liverpool. So this game is a must-win game for Liverpool. If this season they truly want to challenge or they really want to contend for the title once again, then Liverpool need these 3 points more than anything. And what do I think is going to happen? Can Ruben Amorim, Manchester United, stop Arne Slot from challenging or contending for the Premier League trophy? Probably no. I don't think Manchester United have the quality, and even if they have the quality players, they don't have the quality manager who can put 1 and 2 together to get results against Liverpool. And well, over the years we've seen Liverpool always get results against Man United, and Man United really struggle against Liverpool. And this game, because Liverpool is coming from 2 consecutive or 3 consecutive losses, I think this is a game that they are going to go in with all their attacking or all their energy to get the 3 points. What is my score prediction between Liverpool versus Man United at Anfield? I'm predicting this game to end in a 4-1 victory for Liverpool. Liverpool 4, Manchester United 1. Yes, moving on to the last but not the least game in Game Week 8 at the London Stadium is between West Ham United versus Brentford. So far so good, 7 games into the season. Looking at both teams on the league table, West Ham at the moment, they are 19th on the Premier League table with just 4 points out of 7 games. Talking about Brentford, they are also 16th on the Premier League table with 7 points out of 7 games. So going into this game, it's a must-win game for both teams. You know, West Ham United sacked their coach and they brought in Nuno Espirito Santos, which I think he's a very good coach. His first game was against Arsenal, which it was understandable that he lost. But when in his second game, he is building momentum from there. And this game at home against a Brentford side, who also in Game Week 7 lost 1-0 at home at the GTEC Community Stadium to Manchester City. I think this is a game that Nuno Espirito Santos is going to get his first win for West Ham United. And this game, I'm confidently saying that West Ham United is going to win this game against Brentford. My prediction for this game is a 2-1 victory for West Ham United. West Ham United 2, Brentford 1. Yeah, so these are my predictions for Premier League Game Week 8. Let me know your thoughts and your minds at the comment section. Let me know what you think about the entire predictions and which game do you think I'm going to get a spot on predicted right after the international break. Until we meet in another time, bye bye for now.